It actually has a 64-bit key, but only 56 are used in the encryption, so the attacker only needs to guess 56 of the keys, 56 of the bits. Worst case for the brute force attack. With a 56-bit key, 2 to the power of 56. In which case, the number of attempts that we need to take is half of that, 2 to the power of 56 divided by 2, which is actually 2 to the power of 55. Not much difference, in fact. The order of magnitude is about the same. So, not much difference in practice between average and worst case, because those numbers are quite large. In other words, if the worst case took me 1,000 years, then average case takes me 500 years, both of them are too long. And we'll see some numbers, how long they will take. Or, if the worst case took me 1 day, then the average case would take me half a day, both of them are easy to do an attack on. So sometimes we'll list the worst case performance, sometimes the average case performance. So that's the concept of a brute force attack, try all keys. And if we can try all keys, then we'll eventually find the correct one and the cipher can be broken. So the way to prevent a brute force attack, make sure that the algorithm uses a key which is large, such that if the attacker needs to try all keys, it will take too long. So the key length is an important characteristic of a cipher. Any questions? We'll return to the slides, look at a couple more example ciphers, and then see how long a brute force attack takes. Okay. If your key is 3 bits, there are 8 keys. If you want to try them all, you need 8 attempts. If your key is 56 bits, you need 56 attempts. Of course, the question you should be asking is how long does it take to make 2 to the power of 56 attempts? We'll talk about that shortly. So how long would it take my computer to try a DES decryption 2 to the power of 56 times? Big numbers. Could be more than that. So DES, the algorithm was considered, there were many implementations at the time, but the key size was considered too short. So make it larger. And another cipher was called triple DES, written as 3 DES sometimes. And that used DES, but 3 times. And each time we encrypted, in fact there's a variation where we encrypt, decrypt, encrypt, but that's not so important, we use a different key. That is, we take a plaintext, apply DES using key 1 of 64 bits, effective length 56, take the output, encrypt, although it says decrypt here, which it did in practice, it could also be encrypt, with a different key, another 64-bit key, and then again with another 64-bit key. Now the attacker must guess a key which is made up of 3 parts. K1, K2, K3. It's no longer 64 bits, it's 3 times 64 bits long. So that's the idea of triple DES. Extend the key length but use the same algorithm. And using the same algorithm means they could make use of the same software, the same hardware to encrypt things. And there are a few variations on triple DES. Sometimes they use 3 different keys, sometimes use 2 different keys. K1, K2, K1. So there's the effective length of the key of DES is 56 bits. There was a version of triple DES that doubled that to 112 bits, and there was another version that tripled it, so that the actual length up to 168 bits. And the effective length, so 3 times 56 there. So a brute force attack against a 168-bit key requires an attacker to do 2 to the power of 168 different operations. We'll look at the numbers of how long that will take shortly. So triple DES is still today considered secure, it's still used in some cases. The problem with triple DES, it's currently quite slow compared to other algorithms. It's 3 times slower than DES, because what it does is just applies DES 3 times. So with security we care about, with cryptography we care about having an algorithm which is secure, but also one is convenient to use. And one measure of convenience is performance, how fast it takes to, how fast we can encrypt something. So we can't just extend the key length because it may compromise the performance. So triple DES is around, and if you use some encryption software, you may see it as an option. But in the 1990s, the Standards Organization wanted to design a new algorithm which wanted to be secure and wanted to perform very well in a number of different conditions. And it was held as a competition, and a number of researchers submitted entries. Eventually one was chosen, and it was called the Advanced Encryption Standard, AES. And this is widely used today. Probably when you use some applications on the internet or you use disk encryption on your computer, it may be using AES. It's today considered secure, so there are no known significant weaknesses in the algorithm. It used a block size of 128 bits, and it had options for different key lengths. Not just one value, but you can choose a key length of 128 bits, 192 or 256 bits. If you are trustworthy of attackers, and you will see the numbers shortly, but if you want to really future-proof your encryption, you would use the longer key length. But again, shorter key, less secure in theory, so use a longer key. The problem with a longer key is that the encryption takes more time. It degrades the performance. AES is considered maybe the standard to be used today. If you're going to encrypt files or even encrypt data, AES is always a strong contender to choose. Some systems that you use would use AES, so when you have the encryption enabled on Wi-Fi, one of the options is to use AES. When you use disk encryption on your operating system, so in Windows, in Firefox, Linux, you use AES on default. Some of the internet applications where they encrypt, one of the options, and a common one used now is AES to encrypt. It's considered secure and reasonably fast to encrypt. And there are others. This slide just lists some of the names of others, the years when they were released, and the block length and the key length of different combinations. Glowfish, Twofish, Serpent, Idea, RC5, RC6, and others. Okay. But if you need to choose one today, then you'll probably choose AES. Unless you have very special case requirements. Questions on the cipher so far? You may work. We will not go through that in this course. You can read up about that in the course textbook or visit my other lecture one day. Let's come back to brute force attacks. We said, let's put some numbers to it now. With DES, 56-bit key, how long would brute force attack take? Well, in the worst case, we need to decrypt 2 to the power 56 times. Then the question, how long does it take to decrypt one time with DES? How many seconds? If we know that, then we can work out how long would it take to do a brute force attack. And then same with AES, with a 128-bit key or 256-bit key. So brute force attacks, we'll come back to those summary principles in a moment. Brute force attack, try all keys in the key space. The key space is the set of all possible keys. And with a binary key of k bits length, the key space is 2 to the power of k. We care about how long does it take in time, but in practice, the time will depend not just on the key length, but on how fast your computer is, because it's your computer doing the decryption. And how fast your computer is depends on many factors. It depends upon the hardware and the software that's running. And it varies a lot. My mobile phone to decrypt is much slower than my laptop, which is much slower than my desktop, which is much slower than a supercomputer. So it varies amongst different systems and even different software. So often when cryptographers compare algorithms, they simply look at the key length or the number of operations, not the actual time. But let's try and put some numbers to it. We'll do it in different ways, or some theoretical numbers. What this table shows is, on the first column, it gives some possible key lengths. For example, if we use a 56-bit key, or a 128-bit key, or 256. And then the next column is the key space. With a 56-bit key, we know quite simply there are 2 to the power of 56 possible keys. An attacker must, in the worst case, try all 2 to the power of 56 possible keys. How many is that? Let's get our calculator out. DES uses 56-bit key. 2 to the power of 56 is about 7 by 10 to the power of 16 keys. So that's how many we need to try. Then the question is, how fast is a computer to try those keys? And what I give in the next 3 columns are some theoretical speeds. What if we had a computer that could do 1 billion decrypts per second? 10 to the power of 9 is 1 billion. Then it takes 10 to the power of 16 operations divided by our 10 to the power of 9 per second. So we can do 1 billion per second. So that's the number of seconds it would take to do the brute force attack. How many minutes divided by 60? How many hours divided by 60? How many days divided by 24? That's how I arrive at the 833. Should be 834 days. That is, yes, and our computer will do 1 billion decrypts per second. That'll take us a couple of years, almost 3 years. Now, what if I get access to all of the computers in SIT over the weekend? I just brute force attack using every computer, all the main computers, so maybe 1,000 computers, and doing it parallel. Well, I effectively increase my speed by a factor of 1,000, and the next column shows if I can do 10 to the power of 12 decrypts per second, 1,000 times faster, then it will take 1,000 times less time, 20 hours. What if I could go even faster, maybe my government? And my government has access to thousands, tens of thousands of computers, many supercomputers, and will do an attack at the same time, and has dedicated hardware built for decrypting. Maybe it goes up to 10 to the power of 15 per second. Then you see with DES, it takes seconds to defeat the data encryption standard. Even with 10 to the power of 12, it may take less than 1 day. That's why we say DES, the key length is too small. A brute force attack is possible. How fast is your computer? Is it going to do 10 to the power of 9, 10 to the power of 12, or 10 to the power of 15? Have a guess. How many decrypt operations do you think your phone, your laptop... My laptop. We'll do some decrypt and see how fast my laptop is with decrypting DES to see, is it 10 to the power of 9, 10 to the power of 12, or 15, approximately. And I used it briefly last week, and we'll use it through the course. We're going to use just some open source software that implements many encryption algorithms. And it's used for many other applications called OpenSSL. And the useful thing for this course is that it implements the algorithms that we commonly use, like DES and AES, and the software also does a speed test for me. There's an operation that will try to decrypt something, just random messages, as fast as possible, and then report how fast or how many it could do per second. So I'll run an OpenSSL speed test, and let's run it for DES. And also, what's going to happen when I present it is that the software will just choose a random plain text of different sizes, encrypt them for as many as possible for 3 seconds, and record how many it could do. And it does 100 different conditions on the screen. It's doing some DES encryptions while my computer's running, and it does in batch of 3 seconds. It did 9,500,000 in the first 3 seconds, and it's doing for different input sizes. Right, so first time it runs for 16 bytes at a time, next one 64, and now it's doing it for triple DES. The first one was normal DES, this one is actually triple DES, the notation there. It's running, and now maybe the thing of reports, it gives me some summary results at the end, so we'll just use them. Well, actually, we can use the first one to explain. Let's look at just the first line. It was doing DES encryptions, and it turns out encryptions and decryptions are effectively the same with DES. It took random 16 bytes of plain text and encrypted 16 bytes at a time, and it counted. And in 3 seconds, it did 9.5 million. A third of that, about 3 million, 3.2 million decrypts per second. So my computer was doing about 3 million operations per second, not 3 million. 10 to the power 9, but maybe about 10 to the power 6. So now there are other cases that varies a bit in different conditions, but approximately we can say in terms of this table, my computer is not 10 to the power of 9, it's 10 to the power of 6. It's 1,000 times slower than this. So it wouldn't take my computer 833 days, it would take 833,000 days to break DES. So my computer's not so good at breaking DES. But it turns out if you can build dedicated hardware just for breaking DES, it's not so bad, and I'll show some other examples shortly. Well, while I have the speed test software running, well, we have the results here. Another result that's hard to see at the moment, but with DES, this summarises the speeds. The way to interpret this number, it can do DES with my laptop to about 55 megabytes per second. I have a lot of data to encrypt. This is saying I can encrypt at about 55 megabytes per second. So that's one measure of performance from the other perspective. Remember this number, 9.5 million. Triple DES, 3 million, or almost 4 million. Triple DES is slower than normal DES. Almost 3 times slower, not quite. Let's try with AES, the newer algorithm. And there are different modes and different key lengths with AES. I'll choose the 128-bit key length just to save some time. Now doing a speed test on AES with 128-bit key. DES is 56 bits. Maybe the first number here, 15 million operations per second. So with AES we get about 15 million, with DES about 9.5 million. Triple DES about 4 million. So AES faster in that case. Or from the other perspective, with AES I can do about 94 megabytes per second. With DES it was about 55 megabytes per second. So AES is almost twice as fast as DES on my laptop. So AES was designed to be fast, and it's faster than DES, even though it's using a longer key. All of these tests are just using the OpenSSL software. What's faster than using software to encrypt? What's faster than using software? Hardware. That is, use the dedicated features of the CPU to encrypt. This is just a software programming running on my computer using a general purpose CPU to encrypt. Nowadays, CPUs have special instructions that are built just to encrypt and decrypt data, and especially for AES. So my Intel CPU has, so you know the instructions, the assembly instructions of your CPU, one of them is an AES operation. So it's being built into the CPU just to do encryption and decryption fast. And in fact, I can tell OpenSSL to use that. Before I forget the numbers, I'll write them down. Approximately, we got, with DES, we got about 9.5 million per 3 seconds. With triple DES, we got about 4.8, I think it was, million per 3 seconds. With AES, in software, we got about 15.5 million per 3 seconds. Now I'm going to do AES in hardware. That is, I'm going to use the special instructions inbuilt on my Intel CPU to do the test and see if that's faster. Don't look like fast. First, let's see what CPU I have so we can compare. My CPU, my laptop's 7 years old, an Intel i7, a mobile version, maybe 3 or 4 years old, and lots of details about that. These things of interest. The features supported by this CPU, it supports a special set of instructions just for AES. So most recent, the last 4 or 5 years, CPUs have this set of instructions for AES. So now I'm going to use the speed test using the hardware features. And the option to tell it doesn't matter, but that says don't use the software, use the hardware to do an AES test. Let's see how it goes. What do we get? This number. 9 million or no, 92 million. With the hardware encryption, my computer can do 92 million per second, per 3 seconds, or about 550 megabytes per second. 92 million per 3 seconds. You see a big jump in speed here. It's almost 6 times faster than the same algorithm implemented just in software to use the CPU hardware instructions, and 10 times faster than DES. So AES, because it's also widely used, now has hardware support, and many devices can now encrypt using hardware, which makes AES very fast. So that's about 30 million per second. Still, that's only 10 to the power of 7. Is about 10 to the power of 10 years. That is, to do a brute force attack on AES, I'd have to wait for the universe to end. And I'm not prepared to wait that long. And that means that effectively, a 128-bit key is secure.